the 2025 Rotten Tomatoes Award for Best Picture, announced early. Venue, the second party school of the Chinese Communist Party. Jiang Yurong, a student in the International Development track of the Harvard Kennedy School's Public Administration program, recently gave an emotional speech titled Our Humanity at Harvard, her voice trembling with tears. It happened on the very day a U.S. court was deciding whether the Trump administration could impose sanctions on Harvard.
I got a call from two classmates in Tanzania. They had a very urgent question: how to use their washing machine. I remember being told we will be the first generation to end hunger and poverty for humankind. If there's a woman anywhere in the world who cannot afford a period pad, it makes me poor. If a girl who skips school out of fear of harassment, that threatens my dignity. If a little boy dies in a war that he didn't start and never understood, part of me dies with him. Those who think differently, vote differently, or pray differently, whether they are across the ocean or sitting right next to us, are not just wrong. We mistakenly see them as evil. But it doesn't have to be this way, as we are bound by something deeper than belief, our shared humanity.
推动构建人类命运共同体。
Jiang Yurong didn't utter a single word of thanks to America during her entire speech. She's all about caring for the world, yet somehow blind to the suffering of her own people back in China. In her speech, she mentioned the Xi Jinping's community of shared future for mankind 3 times, a concept pushed by Xi that got written into the Chinese Communist Party's constitution in 2017. This is straight-up CCP ideology export, dressed up in fluffy talk of peace, win-win, and cooperation to mask their real goal, spreading authoritarianism and undermining the free world's order to build a CCP-led global system that rejects universal values. Netizens called it out. Her speech made no sense. They even snarked. Was her outfit custom-made? Wonder how many girls could have gotten sanitary pads with that money. And it didn't take long for people online to dig into her real intentions.
Xie Feng, you've come to paint the illusion of a prosperous China, but your hands are painted with blood. You've robbed the Hong Kongers of their most fundamental freedoms and devastated their democracy. Now, in my country, Taiwan, you've sought to do the same. China, people die! 80% of Tibetan children are forced into colonial boarding schools that are aimed to destroy modern Tibetan people's existence. Shame on Xie Feng! Shame on Xie Feng! 2 million Uyghurs are locked in concentration camps. They are subject to rape, torture, forced organ harvesting, sterilization. Shame on Xie Feng!
But we would like to give our guests the opportunity
to make You have blood on your hands! You have blood on your hands! Guilty of genocide! Guilty of genocide! Guilty of genocide! Guilty of genocide! Shame on Xie Feng!
On April 20th, 2024, China's ambassador to the U.S., Xie Feng, gave a speech at the Harvard Kennedy School's China Forum titled Chinese Modernization, Community of Shared Future for Mankind in China-U.S. Relations. During the event, a Taiwanese girl and a Tibetan girl protested, and Jiang Yurong was the one directing others to kick them out of the venue. So how does someone with such average skills not only get into Harvard, but also become the first Chinese woman to speak at Harvard's commencement? Chinese netizens are unanimous. She's got some serious backing. In China, even kindergartens dig into your family background, what your parents do, what car your dad drives, what kind of house you live in, and teachers treat you differently based on that. State media claims Jiang Yurong came from a humble family and worked hard to earn a full scholarship to Cardiff High School in Wales, a bachelor's from Duke University, and eventually a master's in public administration, with a focus on international development from Harvard Kennedy School. But netizens uncovered Jiang Yurong's real background. She's been a long-time volunteer in the International Department of the China Biodiversity Conservation and Green Development Foundation, CBCGDF, and has represented them at global events like the 2018 London Conference on Combating Illegal Wildlife Trade. Her father, Jiang Jiming, was Deputy Secretary and Vice Chairman of the Sweening Municipal Political Consultative Conference and head of the United Front Work Department, and since 2019, he's been the executive director of CBCGDF's Green Future Project Fund. After donating 1 million yuan to the foundation, he was recommended for admission to Harvard Kennedy School by CBCGDF's Vice Chairman and Secretary General, Xie Feng. Zhou also happens to be co-director of the Ecological Civilization Research Center at Peking University's Institute of Xi Jinping Thought. On May 28, 2018, Zhou met with Michael McElroy of the McCourt Group, Michael Sonyi of Harvard's Fairbanks Center for Chinese Studies, and Xu Nianshe, chairman of Poly Group at the New Poly Plaza in Beijing. Poly Group is a CCP-affiliated arms dealer. According to the New York Times, Poly Group shipped tens of thousands of kilograms of smokeless gunpowder to Russian factories via China. Russia freight trains at least twice, enough to produce 80 million bullets. So Luana's not just polishing the CCP's fake peaceful image as part of their global propaganda, she's also tied to an organization linked to the Chinese military. After netizens exposed her background, Jiang Yurong took to social media, spinning a sob story about her tough life. Parents divorced when she was young, bouncing around with her mom, severely bullied in middle school, and clawing her way out of a terrible school through hard work to get into top universities. State media also quietly changed her Chinese surname from Jiang, Jiang, to a homophone, Zhang, Jiang. She's also claimed China's Gaokao and education system are more equal than America's and better at helping people achieve their dreams. This from someone who didn't even stay in China for high school, undergrad, or grad school, opting instead for the UK and US. Then she turns around and praises China's system. Netizens unleashed another wave of mockery, saying, "Work is work, life is life." Back in 2014, Shanghai Observer, part of Liberation Daily, published an article calling Harvard Kennedy School the top chair of the CCP's Overseas Party School, highlighting its role in training Chinese officials. According to Harvard's website, in 1880, Ding Chongji from Ningbo became the first Chinese student to enroll at Harvard. Between 1909 and 1929, about 250 Chinese students earned Harvard degrees. Nearly half became professors, over a dozen served as university presidents in China, and they built careers in literature, math, climatology, medicine, banking, and diplomacy. In 1946, Zhou Enlai, then a senior CCP leader, wrote an open letter to overseas Chinese intellectuals and students, urging them to serve the people and the motherland. Harvard graduates like the Three Musketeers in history, law, and economics, who laid the foundation for modern Chinese academia, and Yan Zhongduo, who gave up a Harvard PhD to answer the call to build New China, returned to serve. But then, in 1949, the CCP took over China. In 1957, they launched the anti-rightist campaign. In 1966, the Cultural Revolution began. Those scholars were brutally persecuted. In 1995, Liu He earned a master's in public administration from Harvard Kennedy School and later became China's vice premier, a key figure in U.S.-China trade talks. Starting in 1996, Harvard began collaborating with the CCP, training numerous Chinese officials and People's Liberation Army officers at the Kennedy School. In 1998, Harvard partnered with China's State Administration of Foreign Experts Affairs and Hong Kong's New World Development to launch the New World Harvard Senior Civil Service Training Program, training about 20 senior CCP officials annually. In 2001, the Kennedy School started its largest training program, the China Public Administration Advanced Training Program, co-hosted with the State Council's Development Research Center and Tsinghua University, training about 60 mid to senior level officials each year. Many later rose to prominent CCP leadership roles. In 2005, China's Ministry of Health, Tsinghua, and Harvard launched the International Advanced Training Program for Chinese healthcare reform, training about 25 officials annually to build senior administrative talent in China's health system. Charles Lieber, Harvard's chemistry department chair and a top nanotechnology expert, was a National Science Award winner and Nobel contender. He signed a deal with China's Wuhan University of Technology, earning up to $150,000 annually, plus living subsidies and over $1 million in lab funding. Without disclosing this to Harvard or the U.S. government, he secretly joined China's Thousand Talents Plan, starting in 2012. This was the first time the U.S. criminally charged a top scientist for collaborating with a Chinese espionage program. The Thousand Talents Plan, launched by the CCP in 2008 and run by the Central Organization Department, aims to lure scientists, professors, and researchers, Chinese and foreign, to boost China's tech, military, and global influence. It offers millions in funding, housing, and labs, requiring recipients to bring research, patents, and data to China. Some projects demand secrecy, often disguised as adjunct roles, consulting, or student exchanges. Over 7,000 high-end talents have joined. In 2018, China's U.S. Ambassador Xie Feng said at Harvard's Fairbanks Center, "We have no plan to dominate the world or replace America's old era with China's new era." This "no silver here" statement reeks of CCP ambition. U.S. think tanks like CSIS, Hudson, and Hoover, along with intelligence and national security researchers, have long studied CCP language tactics. Such preemptive denials are classic CCP moves to hide true intentions or project a gentle image to lull opponents. Over decades, the CCP has sent thousands of mid to senior officials to U.S. universities for administrative training and graduate studies, with Harvard as a top destination. These officials range from city bureaucrats to mayors, governors, and central government vice ministers. In a country as populous as China, even low-level officials can impact millions. Over half of those trained at Harvard get promoted soon after returning. These officials, spread across key leadership roles, shape the lives of countless Chinese. Today, the CCP has expanded this program to Stanford, Oxford, Cambridge, Tokyo University, and other top schools worldwide. The CCP's global propaganda machine works like a Trojan horse: infiltrate under a friendly guise, then take down the target from within. Now, netizens are calling on the U.S. government to revoke Jiang Yurong's visa and send her back to live out her shared future with the CCP.